duly elected second Vice President of United Nurses. And I will apologize, our flags aren't here, an oversight on our part, but our members are here, and that's what counts. And going back to a comment somebody made earlier about the MLAs that are against these bills but are afraid to speak up, well, if they're afraid to speak up, resign and let somebody who's got a set of something take their place. Anyway, it's cold. I'm so happy to be here and to see all of you out, and let's keep up the fight. Thanks very much.
You know, Brother Gil McGowan is somewhere. He got his car got stuck or something, but he was supposed to MC today. So anyway, hopefully he'll show up before the end of the rally, because I know it's cold and it's not safe to be out here too long, but we do have a couple more speakers. And I'd like to turn it over next to Brother Lou Arab, who's going to speak on behalf of the Canadian Union of Public Employees.
Can I hear those pots and pans? Let me hear some noise. Thank you, friends. I'm here speaking because our President, Marley Roberts, is feeling a little under the weather. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm feeling a little sick myself, but I'm a hell of a lot more sick of this government. We are here today to defend our freedom and nothing less. It is not just a simple bargaining matter, although that's a perfectly good reason to demonstrate. But this is about our freedom. We're here to defend the freedom to bargain our wages and our working conditions, and we're here to defend our freedom of speech. These are freedoms that are recognized by our charter, they are freedoms that are recognized by the United Nations, but they are freedoms that unfortunately are not recognized by Alison Redford. Alison Redford promised a lot better than this. I watched the last election very closely, and I don't recall her ever promising or putting it in her election platform that she was going to be picking on and bullying public sector workers. She convinced a lot of working Albertans to vote for her. A lot of working people voted for Alison Redford, and they ended up getting Danielle Smith and the Wild Rose. I don't understand it. This is a betrayal of the working people of Alberta. And I'm here today on behalf of CUPE and our 630,000 members across Canada, and I'm here to tell you and to tell the Premier that we will stand beside all public sector workers to protect our interests. We will stand beside HSAA, we will stand beside the nurses, and yes, we will stand beside AUPE and fight for what is right. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
So, Gil made it here. The MC is here. He's going to be the last speaker. But before I ask Gil to come up and say a few words, the debate on Bill 45, I believe, is on at 7:30 tonight, and you are welcome to come into the galleries to observe that debate. So, I encourage you to all go somewhere, get warm, have something to eat, and be back at 7:30. Now, we are to be of good, keep the peace and order and all that stuff in this building. These are our brothers and sisters that work inside here as sheriffs and as security, and they need to be treated with respect, because they're working people that are going to be affected just as much as anybody else out here with what's happening with these bills. So please, let's go see what's happening on the debate. It'd be great if we could fill those galleries, and make sure, as I said the last rally, if they gotta look you in the eye, but you know what, they won't. They will look down with shame, because this bill is shameful, and they need to know that. So I'm going to turn it over to Gil McGowan, President of the Alberta Federation of Labour, to close it off. Thanks so much for coming today. You guys are great.
Thanks, Guy. I apologize. I had to feed my kids. It took me a lot longer to get across the city than I expected. So this is the third night that we've had a rally. The weather has gotten worse, the temperatures have dropped, but the crowds keep getting bigger, because what's going on behind those doors and under that dome is completely unconscionable. You know, this morning, I did a search. I searched the word bully, and I looked for the definition of bully, and what it said is that a bully is a person who uses their position of power or authority to impose their will on others. This is the definition of Alison Redford's government. This is a bully government giving us a bully bill. Bully, 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 bully. And what do we do? What do you do when you're confronted with a bully? You stand up. And tonight, brothers and sisters, the labor movement is standing up, but it's not just us. I just got off the phone with the editorial director of the Calgary Herald, who is usually no friend of labor, but she said she was appalled. I had a conversation with the Wild Rose Alliance, and they said they were appalled. I've had conversations with people across this country of all political stripes, from one end of the country to another, and they're all appalled. This is not something that should be happening in a democracy like Canada. So the question is, what do Albertans, what do citizens have to do when confronted with a noxious piece of legislation like Bill 45 or Bill 46? First of all, we need to stand up and protect democracy, because especially with Bill 45, they're not just attacking public sector workers, they're actually attacking the ability of all Albertans to speak their minds. Because this is not a bill about public sector workers, about wages and benefits. This is a bill about oppressing dissent, okay? About shutting us up and forcing us to stand down when we want to stand up. So the first thing that we need to do is call this for what this is. It's a bully bill. The second thing that we need to do, the second thing that all of us, all Albertans, need to do is to reassess Alison Redford. Because this is a politician. This is a leader who portrayed herself as a return to progressive conservatives with an emphasis on progressive. We know the truth now. And finally, brothers and sisters, the third thing that we in this crowd and all of our supporters across the province have to do is to come to the support of much maligned public sector workers. Because make no mistake, this is a bill that not only picks the pockets of public sector workers, but treats them with fundamental disrespect. Just 6 months ago, this is a government that wrapped their arms around public sector workers, thanked them for all the wonderful work they did to help us recover from the floods in southern Alberta. They said public sector workers were heroes. Now they say that public sector workers can't be trusted. So we have to send a message to this government that we know who can't be trusted, and it's the people behind that door and under that dome who are taking away our democratic rights and freedoms. And as Albertans, we won't stand for it. Wrap up by saying this. They may be able to use their legislative majority to thwart the will of the majority of Albertans. They may be able to misuse that majority to undermine our democratic rights. But we will remember and we will protest. We will meet them in the courtrooms to challenge this unconstitutional piece of legislation. And we will meet them at the ballot box to make sure that a government that doesn't learn and doesn't treat its people with respect will pay the ultimate price for a government that doesn't deserve to govern. So but the first step is tonight, as they debate these two noxious pieces of legislation, we have to be there in numbers. So I know you're here today, tonight, but we need you in there in about an hour and a half. So if you have time on your schedules, please join us in the galleries, because remember, this is your house. No one can keep you out. And when bad things are happening under that dome, we have to make sure that the public